Hi. How are you? I would like to present, on behalf of Ruchi Singh, an overview of the industrial visit that was scheduled in mid-May 2010. Tirupur is a textile city located on the banks of Nile River. Tirupur, known by various names such as Knit City, Cotton City, is famously called the Textile City of India. It is the administrative headquarters of the Tirupur district. It forms a part of the ancient Konkanadu region of South India. Tirupur is a textile hub and a vast generator of employment for unskilled temporary workers. It is an important trade center of India. Tirupur has gained universal recognition as the leading source of hosiery, knitted garments, casual wear, and sportswear. Tirupur has emerged as the knitwear capital of the country in 3 decades. Exports from Tirupur, which provides employment to over 5 lakh people, has crossed the rupees 12,000 crore. Day 1. 12th May 2010. Visit to NIFT College in Knitwear Fashion. The topics covered were knitting machines, dyers, and different types of testing instruments and machines. The method of converting yarn into fabric by intermeshing loops, which are formed with the help of needles, is known as knitting. There are 2 basic forms of knitting technology: woof knitting and warp knitting. Woof knitting is done with hands and with machines. But warp knitting is done by machines only. In woof knitting, only a single yarn is required, and the fabric consists of horizontal, parallel courses of yarn. On the other hand, warp knitting requires 1 yarn for every stitch in the row, that is the course, and these yarns make vertical, parallel wales.
To hold the supply packages. So from here, the yarn passes through the tube. This is the yarn guide. To guide the yarn from the cone to the place of knitting. Okay. So the first element is the positive feeder. Okay. As soon as the yarn comes from the supply package, that has to pass through the positive feeder. So again, we have to feed the yarn at a uniform rate. Okay. Suppose if you go for knitting without the positive feeder, then the feeding won't be uniform. Okay. Due to the unweight of the yarn, the feeding will be uneven. Okay. So that will affect the loop length and subsequently the fabric weight and that thing. Okay. We cannot have the required quality. So we here store the yarn and supply at a constant rate. So after unweighting from the positive feeder, this is the stop motion wire. Okay. To stop the machine whenever the yarn breakage occurs. Okay. So if there is any breakage in any one of the feeder, automatically the machine has to be stopped immediately. So from here directly to the knitting zone. Okay. Again, there is the yarn guide. Okay. Here we have the needle. Okay, the cylinder onto which we place the needle. Okay. So depending upon the type of machine, the machine dia may differ, and also the machine cage, the number of feeder, all will differ. Okay. That indicate the capacity of the machine. That is a very smaller dia machine. Okay. So according to the fabric width we require, we have to choose the right kind of machine. Okay. And also the machine cage also may differ. What is the cage? There is a number of needle or number of tricks per 1 inch of the cylinder. Okay, how many number of needle we can place in a circumferential inch of the cylinder. So that may differ. Okay, for example, this is a 24 kg machine. Okay, that means in a 1 inch circumference, it will have 24 needle. So that means the fabric will have 24 wales per 1 inch during knitting. Afterward, it may undergo contraction, that may increase. So the cam is stationary, the cylinder will move along with the needle. Cam will have the track. This is the 4-track machine. That means each and every cam will have 4 different tracks. So the needle bud will pass through any one of the cam track. Okay. So according to the design of the track, the needle will be raised or lower. There we have only one set of needle. That is a needle placed only in the cylinder. But here we have two parts. One is cylinder, other one is the dial. Dial is again a cylinder-like plate that is placed over the cylinder. So we have two set of needle. Okay, the cylinder will have a certain number of needle and also the dial. Okay, so needle will move up and down like a single JC machine, but the dial needle will move to and fro in between the cylinder needle. Okay, this is the trough where we can add any solution. Suppose we want to cover the texture material, we can add the chemical for covering. Okay, we can do bleaching, we can do dyeing, or we can do any finishing.
Then where is
The
fabric? Where will the fabric?
we have to do
placed?
calculation before dyeing any dyeing. We have to do
For
some
color.
calculation. Okay, to prepare the Lea. Okay, the Lea can be used for the count testing and strength testing. A Lea is a coil of yarn with a length of 120 yards. Length of 120 yards. Yeah, with a length of 120 yards. Okay, it is automatic machine. Okay, so each revolution will give 1.5 yard length. Okay, suppose if we wind one coil, one rotation, the length will be equal to 1.5 yard. So that means it has to rotate 80 revolutions to get 120 yards. Okay, it is automatic one. After getting 80 revolutions, automatically it will be stopped.
Lea Strength Tester. Test setup to test tensile, tearing, and bursting strength. Flat lock sewing machine. Piping sewing machine. Rib cutting machine. Buttonhole sewing machine.